Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today we are going to play with another offset style gatefold card, and I have 4 different ways you can use it in your card making. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 4 different offsetting gatefold card ideas that I want to share with you. Now, these card ideas are different from the ones I previously shared. So I'm going to show you how to cut your card base so that you can create this style of a gatefold card instead of the previous style that I shared. But both are fun no matter which one you choose. Now, the cards in this video feature the Trucking Along bundle from Stampin' Up. So this particular bundle comes with this fun little stamp set that you can really use to create cards for any occasion. I'm going to focus on Christmas cards for this video. So besides the stamp set, the bundle also includes a punch. So there is a truck builder punch that you can use to cut out the truck image from this set and just build a really cool looking truck. Now, the Trucking Along bundle is an online exclusive, so you can only find it in the online store. So I have linked to it in the description below this video. Okay, so first let's talk about how to create the base of this gatefold card. So in my previous video, I shared a fun way to create a gatefold card, this offsetting style. And in that particular video, we used a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock. For this gatefold, we are just going to cut our paper differently. So we are going to cut it at 4.25 inches by 11. So once you have your cardstock cut, then you are ready to do the scoring. So I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to do all of the scoring. So the first thing I'm going to do is just score this at 1.5 inches. So after you make that score line, then you just scooch your paper all the way over to 7 inches. So I want to line up the edge here at 7 inches, and then you just make another score line. Okay, so now we have created the card base. Let's just fold on all of these score lines. And this is what our offsetting gatefold card looks like. Okay, so now we are ready to decorate it. So I am going to create this style for this fun fold card. And then I will show you the other 3 ways that you can use this card design. So the first thing I did is I cut a 1.25 by 4 inch piece of some designer paper, and I just adhered it to the left side of this card, so to that small section. Now I'm using some of the designer paper from the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper pack, but you can use any designer paper that you have. The next thing I did is I cut a 3.75 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock, and I did a little embossing. I just used the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder to just add some texture to my cardstock, and I'm going to put that on this larger section. The next thing I did is I just cut a little square shape out of a piece of the designer paper. So I use the Stylish Shapes dies to create this piece. You can just cut a regular square. The size is 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And then I cut a piece of early espresso cardstock, and this is 2.5 by 2.5. So I'm just going to adhere these 2 pieces together. And then I'm just going to adhere it to the card front. So the next thing I'm going to do is just show you how to create the focal point for this particular card if you're using the Trucking Along bundle. Okay, so let me show you how to create the little truck image. So I am using early espresso and I'm using real red ink to create the truck. So we're just going to stamp this down on our white cardstock. So I just used that early espresso ink. And now I'm going to add the body of the truck here, the color. So I'm using real red to add this color. Next, we'll just add the little tires, the color to the tires. So I'm just using that early espresso ink again. And then you can just slide this into the punch and just punch it out, and you have a great little focal point for your card. So the next thing I'm going to do is just create the tree image from this set. So there's 2 different images. There's this outline image, and then there's the kind of solid fill-in image. So I'm just going to stamp the tree in early espresso just to create kind of the outline. And then I'm going to use some garden green ink, and we will add the color right to that tree. And then I just took my scissors and just did a little bit of fussy cutting. And the reason I did this is because I'm popping that truck up on the front of the card. So I'm going to be adding some dimensionals to the truck. And so I wanted the tree to have some dimension as well. But the image does stamp very well on a regular piece of cardstock where you won't have to fussy cut it. And I'll show you that for the inside of the card. So this is the piece that I cut for the truck, and I'm just going to adhere these two pieces together so it's kind of like in the bed of the truck. So I like to use some dimensionals to do that. So you can just add a couple dimensionals to secure the tree, and then it is ready to use as your focal point. So just to show you that you do not have to cut the tree out with the scissors, you can just stamp it. I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock here, and I already stamped the truck. So what I'm going to do is just add the tree in the back here. So I'm just going to stamp this tree image with the early espresso, and then I'm just going to overlay this green on there. And so now you have a really fun little image, and we're going to use this on the inside of our card to decorate. Okay, so now that you know how to create the focal point, this little truck with the tree in the bed of the truck, we are ready to finish decorating our card. So the next thing I did is I just cut a 2 3/4 inch long piece of white cardstock, and it's about 5/8 inch wide. And I just stamped the little greeting on it. And I'm going to add this first to the bottom of this square shape. So I just popped it up with some dimensionals. Now I'm ready to add this little truck, and we already have the dimensionals on the back. So we will just adhere this right above the greeting on that square shape. Then we'll go ahead and just add a couple of these little rustic dots. And we have a really fun design on the front of our card. All right, so now let's talk about how to decorate the inside of the card. So I'm basically going to be using the same pieces that I used on the front of the card. So I'm going to start with this 1 1/4 by 4 inch piece of designer paper, and we'll put that on that small section on the inside of the card. And then I have a 3 3/4 by 4 inch piece of the wood grain paper, and that I'm going to put on this larger section here. And in the middle, we're going to add our 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock. So this is the one where I showed you how to stamp the truck with the tree so that you didn't have to fussy cut it out. So it works great for decorating the inside of the card. And then you can add a little bit of twine or anything you want to decorate up the front of the card. But I just really wanted you to get the concept for creating the base of the card, and how you decorate it is completely up to you. The possibilities really are endless. Okay, so this is the first card idea that I just walked you through. So this card is created in that landscape style. And then I have a second card where I did the exact same thing. I just flipped around this little small section. So the card base is identical. You create the card base the exact same way. The only thing is, instead of decorating it in this style, I simply turned the card base so that that smaller section is on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. But I decorated them really completely the same, with the same focal point and designer paper and measurements. So just kind of a fun way to use this gatefold style design. And of course, you can create this gatefold style card in the portrait style as well. So instead of landscape, just turn your card base and decorate it in this fashion. So you can decorate it with a small piece on the bottom here. And this time, instead of adding a big bow, I just wrapped some little linen thread around there and just added kind of a little banner just to give it a little different look. But this is what it looks like on the inside. So it's very, very simple. And then this is the other one. So for this one, I just switched and put the small part on the top instead of the bottom. And then I have the bigger section on the bottom. So really fun designs, very simple to create. And like I said, the possibilities with this design are really endless. So have fun with it. Okay, so there you go. Now you have 4 different ways that you can use this gatefold design in your card making. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.